Ever stop and think about why you picked coffee over tea this morning? Or, why you're saving up for that specific trip and not another one? Well, it turns out there's this hidden logic, this economic blueprint behind every single choice we make. And today, we're going to pull back the curtain on it.
Right, so it all kicks off with something super simple, like this. Coffee? Croissant? Maybe both? But behind that tiny decision, there's a really powerful economic theory all about how to get the absolute most out of what you've got. Let's dig in and see how it works.
Okay, so let's think of this whole thing as a puzzle, the everyday choice puzzle. I mean, think about it. Every single day, you're hit with a ton of decisions, right? But we all know we can't have everything. So the big question is, how do we end up making the best possible choice for ourselves?
And this is where this whole field of economics, consumer theory, steps in. It's really all about understanding how people, you, me, everyone, make the best choices when we just can't have it all. It's this constant battle, isn't it? We have limited resources, money, time, you name it. But our list of wants, that seems to go on forever.
So to really get a grip on how we make these choices, we first got to understand the rules of the game. And in the world of economics, rule number one, the big one, is always your budget.
Now, budget constraint sounds a little, academic, right? But it's actually super simple. It's just the hard limit your income puts on what you can buy. That's it. It's the clear line in the sand between what's in your reach and what's, well, not.
This is where a neat little tool called a budget line comes in. It's basically a simple graph that shows all the possible combos of two things you can buy if you spend every last penny. So, every point on this line could be a different mix of coffees and croissants. And the big takeaway here? It's all about the trade-off. To get more of one thing, you absolutely have to give up some of the other.
All right, so we've got the rules of the game down. That's our budget. Now let's talk about the goal. What are we trying to achieve here? Simple. Maximizing our happiness. Or, if you want to sound like an economist, maximizing our utility.
Just think of utility as a satisfaction score for a product. And it's not about how useful something is in a practical sense. I mean, a piece of art might not do anything, but it could bring you a ton of joy, right? And that means it has high utility for you. It's a completely personal thing, a totally subjective measure of happiness.
Now, economists have kind of two ways of looking at this. The first, cardinal utility, tries to actually put a number on your happiness. Like saying a coffee gives you 10 utils of joy. But then there's a more, let's say, realistic approach called ordinal utility. It just ranks your preferences. You might not know exactly how much more you like coffee than tea, but you just know you prefer it. That's ordinal.
And we're going to focus on that ordinal approach. Because really, as this quote nails, it's how we actually make decisions in real life. We're constantly ranking our choices. I'd rather have this than that, even if we're not crunching the numbers in our head.
Okay, this leads us to a really fascinating, and I mean universal, principle about satisfaction. Think about your coffee in the morning. That first cup. Oh, it's just perfect, right? The second one? It's good, yeah, but it's not quite the same. This is exactly what economists call diminishing marginal utility. That extra bit of satisfaction you get from each additional one, it starts to drop off. And you can see it perfectly in the numbers here. Look, that first cup gives you a solid 10 units of satisfaction. The second cup adds another 8, so your total goes up to 18. But notice the marginal utility. That's the extra kick from each new cup. It's falling from 10 to 8 to 6, even while your total satisfaction is still going up. By the time you get to the 6th cup, you get 0 extra satisfaction. You're just done. So how can we actually picture our preferences? Well, economists use this really clever tool called an indifference curve. The easiest way to think about it is as a line of equal happiness. Any combination of stuff on this line, say 2 coffees and 1 croissant, or 1 coffee and 3 croissants, will give you the exact same level of satisfaction. You're literally indifferent about which combo you get.
Okay, now for the magic. It's time to put it all together. We're going to combine what you can afford, that's your budget line, with what you want, your indifference curves, and we're going to find that sweet spot, the perfect choice. And the process is actually a pretty logical 3-step deal. Step 1, you start with your budget line. That's what's possible. Step 2, you overlay your indifference curves, all your maps of what makes you happy. And then, step 3, you find that one single point where your budget line just kisses the highest, most satisfying happiness curve you can possibly reach.
And that sweet spot, it's got a special name, consumer equilibrium. It's that perfect point where you are getting the absolute most happiness you can for your money. Given your budget, you simply cannot do any better. So the real key takeaway here is this. Your best choice isn't just any point you can afford. Nope. It's that one single spot where your happiness curve is just tangent to, just barely touches your budget line. It's the point where what you truly want lines up perfectly with what you can actually afford.
But life isn't static, right? Things change. So what happens when the rules of the game suddenly get a rewrite? Let's check it out.
Okay, let's say you get a raise. Awesome. What happens? Your entire budget line shifts outward. Suddenly, a whole new world of choices becomes affordable, and that means you can reach a higher indifference curve, a higher line of happiness, which in plain English just means you're better off.
But what if the opposite happens? What if the price of your daily coffee suddenly goes up? Well, your budget line doesn't shift, it pivots inward. It shrinks your options. You just can't afford as much as you used to. And this forces you to find a new, less happy equilibrium point on a lower curve. It's a bummer, but that's how it works.
All right, let's do a super quick recap of the main ideas here. 1. Your choices are limited by your budget constraint. 2. Your goal is to maximize your utility or your satisfaction. 3. The absolute best choice is that equilibrium point where your budget line just touches your highest possible indifference curve. And 4. Whenever your income or prices change, that sweet spot is going to move.
So you see, at the end of the day, this isn't just some dry, abstract economic theory. It's a really powerful framework for understanding your own life. It's the hidden logic, the why, behind the choices you make every single day, from the tiny little ones to the really big, life-changing ones. So I'll leave you with this question. The next time you're facing a choice, any choice, big or small, just take a second. Think about those invisible forces at play. What's your budget? What do you really want? And where is your personal sweet spot? The answer might just surprise you.